There are a lot of Keepa tutorials on this platform. The problem is that most of them leave you wanting for more. This video is going to solve that problem. If you watch all the way through this video, I guarantee that you will know more than 90% of Amazon sellers and your competitors. I'm going to teach you everything I know, everything I've learned over the past 10 years, every single feature, every single secret of Keepa, so that you can make better sourcing decisions in your Amazon business and leverage the data that's offered to you. I'm also going to dispel some rumors and myths that people believe about Keepa and the data that it presents to you. Now, my name is Chris Grant, and I've been selling on Amazon for over 10 years. In that time, I've helped hundreds of sellers build 6- and 7-figure Amazon businesses of their own. My content is also used by 7- and 8-figure sellers to train their teams. Not only that, but I've also helped hundreds of sellers beat suspensions, Section 3s, and account health issues. Recently, I began working one-on-one with people just like you who want to start or scale their Amazon business and create time freedom for themselves and their families. Now, if you're looking for someone to help you start or scale your Amazon business, and you'd like someone to be there side by side with you who can guide you, answer your questions, and give you a system that you can use in your business, and also have your back if account health issues come up, well, check out the link in the description and set up a call to speak with me, not some closer, to see if it would be a fit to work together. Now, let's dive into the computer, and let me show you everything I've learned about Keepa over the past 10 years. Welcome to the computer, where we're going to go over everything Keepa. Now, a lot of people will start with the Keepa graph. However, we're going to make sure that you know everything, and in reality, the very first place that you need to start when you install Keepa and turn on the Keepa graph on Amazon product detail pages is going to be the settings. There are a couple of places to view the settings. We're going to be viewing it inside of the actual Keepa graph that shows up on Amazon product detail pages. And here you're going to have several things that show up for you. The very first is the chart appearance. And you can set the range for the chart to be a day, a week, a month, 3 months, a year, or all time. You can also set up a custom set of days. Now, my opinion is that you should have this at least at 3 months. However, longer is probably better. A year and all time is probably too much just for a quick snapshot. However, you will want to take a look at this data, and we'll dive into that information in a little bit. But I set mine up with a custom 180 days. That gives me 6 months worth of data in a very quick snapshot so that I can see what's happened to an ASIN historically. I also turn off the close-up view. When you have the close-up view turned on, sometimes very small changes in price or sales rank can be made to look much larger, and we don't want to see that. I also filter extreme values to no because I want to be able to see everything and make my own decision. Now, the date format, it doesn't matter. Whatever you like the best. I happen to be in the United States, so we use this version right here at the very beginning. Next is going to be your tracking settings. Not only does Keepa give you data so that you can make a decision about sourcing a product and guess its future performance based on its historical performance, very much like picking a stock, but you can also track items on Amazon for things like price drops, price increases, number of sellers, etc., and so on. And we'll go into that a little bit as well. Now, the tracking mode that you're going to want enabled is Pro. And this, of course, means that you have a paid Keepa account to be able to get that Pro version of the tracking mode. That's going to give you the most information that you can take a look at. Your desired price reduction preset, you can see that it's set at 5% right now. I actually want this at 25%. And what this means is that when I come across a product that I actually want to track and be alerted to price drops, this will automatically fill in a 25% price drop. So if something is $100, it'll pre-fill in $100 for the buy box in Amazon. That way I can get notified if that price drops. This is great for things like Amazon to Amazon flips. It's also great for personal purchases that maybe you want to save some money on. I'll also have it auto pre-fill the buy box and Amazon. You could have it pre-fill the new if you want to search new prices as well when you're doing price drops, but I fill those in myself typically. You can choose how long this tracks for. 2 weeks, a month, 3 months, 6 months, a year, all the way to 10 years. I think 1 year is plenty. If you're tracking it any longer than that, it's fine. However, it's probably not necessary. You can get notified once a lightning deal for a tracked product has started. I have this set to yes. You are not able to use lightning deals for Amazon to Amazon flips. However, if there is a personal purchase that I want to make, then I want to make sure that's turned on. The alert rearm timer, you should set to 1 day. That is the minimum number of days that you can set. This means that you will get notified no more than 1 time a day if the price drops. So if it drops multiple times in a single day and Keepa catches it, well, you'll only get notified once. If you need to get notified more frequently than that, you're going to use a third-party software, something like Flip Alert or something else. Amazon Smile, I have turned to no. Amazon Smile program no longer exists, and so we just turn that off. Do I want to consider coupons in price alerts? Yes, absolutely. The reason is that if it is not a Prime only coupon, you can use coupons for things like Amazon to Amazon flips. But also, if I'm doing a personal purchase, I want to be able to use coupons in my personal purchase to save as much as I possibly can. And then do I want to receive price alerts for Prime exclusive offers? Now, I track both things for personal as well as Amazon to Amazon flips, so I have this turned on to yes. If you are only doing Amazon to Amazon flips and nothing for personal, you'll want to turn that to no, because you cannot use any Prime benefits for resale. Now, your data settings, you can choose a unit system, you can choose the metric system or the imperial system. I am in the US, so we're going to use freedom units of inches and pounds. In the settings, you can also choose the language. Now, I'm in the US, so we're going to do English, but there are several other languages that are supported here. You can also set up your currency conversion. So if you want to look internationally, you can set up your currency conversion so that it will tell you the price in your local currency if you're looking at other marketplaces. You can actually use Keepa to figure out, may I buy something cheaper in Canada and sell it for more in the US, or may I buy something cheaper in the US and sell it for more in Mexico? And by setting up your currency settings, this will make it so that it always shows in your currency that you're used to, and it will handle exchange rates, etc. So we'll go ahead and turn that on. We'll go back to our settings here, make sure that everything stayed the same. And it did. And the Keepa box vertical size, that is going to be up and down for those of you in Ann Arbor. 300 pixels is probably enough. You can do anywhere between 170 and 500. Whatever you need to be able to see all of the data is fine. The horizontal size, or left to right, I use dynamic. This means that the size of it will change depending on what's on the screen. You can also use a full window width. I've found that that can cause some trouble sometimes, and the dynamic seems to work a little bit better. Your default view, you can choose a Keepa box. That is what we're seeing right now, an actual box that loads when you load an Amazon product detail page. If you use the button, you will just see a little Keepa button on your screen. That'll look something like this circle right here, and you'll have to click on it for it to load on the Amazon product detail page. Having the Keepa box will make the page load a little bit slower. However, having the button itself adds another click, another piece of friction, and I want less friction for myself. Do I want to allow the add-on to gather Amazon prices to improve their price data? Yes, absolutely. We want everyone who uses Keepa to be doing this, because the more times that Keepa can go out and scrape the data or gather the data, the more accurate it's going to be. I also want to show price history graphs as overlays when hovering Amazon products. You're going to need to click yes to that, and then you'll need to go through the setup process so that you can choose what to see. I turn on the sales rank, the buy box, Amazon, and new. over the past 180 days. I'm not necessarily worried about third-party FBA or third-party FBM is new or lightning deals or anything like that. I don't need to see all of the data. And what that piece of data looks like, or what that allows, is if we go down and we pull up a product right here and just hover over it, you can see in the top right-hand corner there, I've got a pop-up that shows me that Keepa graph without me actually having to click in. That also works on product search pages. So if I were to just go out and search hand soap on Amazon, I can hover over all of the titles and I'll be able to see that pop-up Keepa chart down in the bottom right-hand corner. I also choose to see the display stock quantity on offer listings pages. I choose yes for that. And what that does is if I come over here and I take a look at who else is on this particular listing, I'll actually be able to see what their stock levels are on this listing. And let's see a bit more. This one is not showing me right off the top here, but there are other sellers. And if I were to open up the other sellers on here, I would be able to see what their stock quantity levels are. You can see here, this seller has 30 currently in stock. At least that's what they're letting us know that they have. That is a pro feature only. Okay. Now, after you make changes like this, you do need to refresh the page so that those actually take effect. And then you're going to start seeing one of the most important parts, which is the price history on the Keepa graph. And this is what we're going to dive into next. This price history section is where you're probably going to spend most of your time when it comes to looking at a Keepa chart. There is a lot of information that goes on here, but first let's talk about how to get it set up properly, and then we're going to dive into all of the pieces that are here so you know exactly what to use and what you can look past. Now, the very first thing that you should do is make sure that you have all three of these boxes popped open. The way that you can do that is make sure that this sub ranks button is turned on or green. This is going to give you your first graph, which is going to be sales rank and buy box price and Amazon price, etc. Is going to give you your sub-rank graph, which is the second one here, which also holds the monthly sold graph or monthly sold line, which we'll talk about as well. And then you're going to have a third graph down here, which is going to give you rating and rating count and new offer count broken down by total new offers as well as FBA offers. Now, there are a few other things that you should know before we go in and actually take a look at the data. Number one, there is some information up here at the very top that can be helpful. The first is a news section. This is going to take you to any news that Keepa offers on any rollouts that they have. Now, this item or this here, they don't roll out information very often, even when they do make changes. Normally, you have to either rely on the community to let you know what changes are going on, or you need to just find it serendipitously. Now, the next thing that you will see is this support button. You can hit that support button and it will take you over into this section, which is the resources section of Keepa. And this is a forum. You can actually post here. You can get questions answered. You can see the latest announcements if there are any. They are infrequent. And you can see what other people who are using Keepa are talking about. There's a lot to learn in there, but don't spend too much time in there. You can also manage your price watches. We've talked about tracking prices on Keepa. Well, this will show you all of the items that you are tracking on Keepa. For some reason, mine is not loading at the moment. There are 28 tracked items in here normally. There is a 10,000 limit on the Pro plan, and we'll find out why that isn't being tracked when we come in here a little bit later. The next thing is the product finder. We're going to talk about product finder in a little bit. You're definitely going to want to stay for that. This is so incredibly powerful, and I will show you a few different ways that you can use these literally hundreds of filters to pare down over 1 billion ASINs into products that are more likely to be products that you will be able to sell on Amazon for a profit. There's also find related deals. This is going to open up items that are in this particular category. It doesn't look like there are any deals in the foot and hand care or the hand wash section that fit my current criteria of a 30% price drop or more that are also over $24. We can take that down to 0, and there might be some in here, and sure enough, there are. There are some items that have dropped in price 24%, 33%, etc., but there was nothing that was over $24 at the moment, okay? So this will show you deals that are going on, and I'll show you how to use this section here in just a little bit. The next thing we can see in here is related bestsellers. This related bestsellers is going to show us the top 5,000 items in this particular category, in the hand wash category. Now I have this limited to 1,000 rows right now, and it will load up the top 1,000 bestsellers in this particular subcategory. As a matter of fact, I believe in the subcategory, we can go up to 10,000 now. So we could load 2,000, 5,000, 10,000, and we could see the top 10,000 items in the hand wash subcategory. This is a great way to see what other types of products might be selling in this particular subcategory that you could also go after. And we'll talk about this in just a little while, because you can go in and you can filter these items. So we can see that everything without Amazon as the buy box seller dropped it from 1,000 down to 806. And we could go in and look at these products to see if we could find them profitably to sell on Amazon. And then, of course, there is going to be your username over here, and that will take you to an area where you can handle your subscription. You can upgrade, downgrade, you can cancel, delete your data, all of that stuff. All right. So that's what's up here. Down here in the bottom, before we get into some of the meat of this data here, you're going to see that there is some information right here. It's going to give you the current sales rank, the current subcategory sales rank, and the current third subcategory sales rank. So beauty and personal care is the top level. Foot and hand care is the second level. Hand wash is actually the fourth level subcategory, and it shows you the current sales rank in each. It also shows you the average 90 and 365 day sales rank in each one of these, in the top level, the second level, and the fourth level subcategory. And it lets you know what percentage this is in each one of these categories. So in the top level category, there are 15,795 products in the beauty and personal care category. 11.5 million is the highest sales rank, there are 11.5 million products in this category, the highest sales rank being 15.79 million in this particular category. And this item is obviously in the top 1%. It also shows you how many drops per month there are, how many average drops there are over the past 90 days. And this is just the average number of times that there was a sales rank drop that occurred per month over the last 90 days. This is not indicative of the number of sales of a particular product. And you can see that because Keepa is showing us the monthly sold line there of 50, meaning this sells 50 times or more. Matter of fact, it's a little bit more nuanced than that, and we'll get into that in just a moment. But this is obviously selling much more than 12 times per month. The number of average sales rank drops over the past 90 days, though, is 12 per month. It is indicative of sales, at least in a directionally accurate measure, but it does not actually have anything to do with the number of sales that happen, as sales can happen both when the sales rank drops, but also when the sales rank increases due to the way that sales rank is figured out. And these are some nuances that you need to know, because there is bad information out there that people tell other sellers to use the rank drops as a number of sales, and it's just not good information. We can also see here that bought in the past month is 50 plus. We'll talk about this here in a little bit. This was last updated 19 minutes ago. If this was over an hour, you could actually refresh this data. We may see that on another listing a little bit later on, but this data is fresh enough that it does not need to be refreshed. And then over here, we can actually see the different item, or sorry, we can actually see the marketplace that it's in. We can click on this button right here, and we can see if this is in any other marketplaces at all, which it does not look like this is in any other marketplaces for me to be able to show you how this actually works. But if this was in, let's say, Canada or Mexico, you would see what the North American buy box price is. You would then see the Mexican buy box price, the Canadian buy box price, as well as sales rank, etc., and so on, so that you could see if this might be something that is a good cross-border flip. Actually, there we go. Let's turn on only same region. Let's turn on Mexico and Canada and the UK, and it looks like it's not showing up in any of these other marketplaces at the moment. So we'll see if this is on another, okay? So those are all the things you can see there. There's also some statistics. In the statistics section, you can see the lowest price that has ever been from Amazon. Back in December of 2019, it was $2.99. It's currently out of stock. The highest price of $6.21 from Amazon was back in 2017. Amazon's not been on it in quite some time, so there are no averages for the 90-day drops or anything like that. We can also see the new lowest price of 21 cents. Someone made a little mistake back in 2014. 60 days ago, the current price was $13.98 from a new seller. The highest price back in 2024 was $27.56. And then the average price over the last 90 days is $14.05, $12.89 over the last 180 days. And on average, over the past 90 days, there have been 0.3 drops in the new sales price. And we can see that that happened here a little bit in this chart. There's also the used price there. And then, of course, there is sales rank data. The lowest sales rank ever recorded, the current sales rank, the highest, the average over the last 90 and 180 days, and of course, the average number of sales rank drops over the past 90 days. You can also share this graph if you want to share it with a friend or something like that. You can use this link to go ahead and share that. And then, of course, there are graph settings as well. And in the graph settings, you'll have price history turned on automatically. The category sales rank and monthly sales, that's that middle graph turned on. The offer counts and ratings right there is also turned on. And then, of course, you can click the labels next to each graph to show or hide various types of historical data, meaning we can click on sales rank and make that go away. Click it on again, and we'll be able to see it this way here. All right. Now, one more thing before we get started into the actual data portion is you'll see that next to sales rank, there is a kind of a sort feature here. Right now, this shows the best sales rank being at the bottom. That is 0. You can see it right down here. The worst sales rank being at the top, right over here. And this means that the closer the sales rank is to 0 or 1, the better it is selling overall. The worse that sales rank gets, the slower it is selling. Of course, we can see that sales rank went up precipitously here as this item was out of stock for a little while. Now you can change that so that the high or the low sales rank is at the top and the high sales rank is at the bottom. That, in my opinion, is not the way to go. I think that it looks best with the low sales rank near the bottom. Now, let's dive into what this data actually means. The very first thing we have here is, of course, this green line. The green line is the sales rank, and the sales rank lets us know what is happening on this particular listing in terms of sales velocity. Now, Amazon has made some changes about a year ago to sort of flatten out the sales rank, but sales rank is updated by Amazon once every hour. Now, that does not mean that Keepa updates it once every hour. They will try, especially on some of the better selling listings, but they're not able to grab the data in real time at all times. So all of the data that we look at is directionally accurate. What we are looking for in a sales rank line is we are looking for something like this. We want this very unnatural heartbeat, right? You go to a doctor with a heartbeat like this, they're going to admit you, possibly shock you. But in a product on Amazon, this is exactly what we want to see. There are going to be some natural inclinations and declinations in the sales rank, and this is very indicative of the natural ups and downs of sales velocity of products across the day, weeks, and months of something selling on Amazon. However, this is something that sells regularly, and we can back that up with the monthly sold line. Now, here's the thing. A lot of people want to know, well, how many units actually sell? Well, Amazon and Keepa don't offer that data. They only offer us information where we can be directionally accurate. And of course, we can use something like Seller Amp, which will estimate the sales velocity for us, but also that is only going to be directionally accurate. The only way to know for sure is to actually buy some products, send them into Amazon, and see how quickly that they actually sell. All right. But if you find a chart with a sales rank that looks like this, it's pretty safe to say that this is selling on a regular basis. Whether that is 50 times a month, 55 times a month, 35 times a month, we just can't say. And anyone who says you can is telling you incorrectly. Now, the next thing we're going to find here is this pink line. This pink line is the buy box line. Now, it is not always present. Sometimes Amazon suppresses the buy box. Sometimes the buy box is gone because, as you can see right here, these items went out of stock. But also here, where Amazon suppressed the buy box, there is no buy box available. Amazon also suppressed the buy box right here where the pink line disappears and we only see that purplish new line. However, what we can tell from the buy box line is what happens to this price over time. Now, with this particular item, if we look at the number of new offers on this listing, we can tell that it doesn't like a whole lot of competition, or someone came on the listing who decided that it was on them to drive the price down some to be able to get more sales. Okay. So this is something that we might be a little worried about if we were to hop on this listing and compete, because if one or two more sellers hop on, this may not have enough sales velocity to deal with it, and we'll see price erosion. Now, here's what you need to know about how to figure this out. This is Economics 101. The buy box, or the price, is going to have an inverse reaction to the supply, as long as the demand either stays the same or goes down. So what we'll see here in a product like this is if the supply, or the number of sellers, goes up, but the demand, or the sales rank, stays the same, we will see price erosion. And that's exactly what you saw back here. The demand did not go up in this time. However, the offer count went up during that time, and we see price erosion. Now, as the number of sellers go down, we can see that that price ended up recovering. And as a matter of fact, going all the way up to $19.99 when there was only one seller on the listing, and it suppressed the buy box. And then it went out of stock. So someone did sell it at that high price. And then when it came back in stock from this seller, they came back in at $13.98, and it has stayed there. They have not changed the price, and the velocity has returned. We can see it's even gotten that 50 plus badge. Okay, that is what you need to know to be able to make a sourcing decision. All right, now there are some different things that could happen. If the demand for the product increases, let's take a viral product like Nido, for example. Well, if the demand increases, but the number of sellers also increases, the price may stay the same or even go up if the demand is much higher than the actual supply. All right. And we would see the sales rank go down and get much closer to 1. And we would see that price go up even though the supply is increasing, right? Because the demand is outstripping the pace of the supply. If you understand Economics 101, reading a Keepa graph becomes a very simple process. Now, there is more data that you need to know in here. There is Amazon, and Amazon will show up in shaded orange. Matter of fact, if we come out here and hover over that Amazon, we can see that Amazon was in stock in these sections right here. We can see that that is in orange. It will look shaded just like that when Amazon is actually in stock on a listing. We have a purple line right here. This is the new price. This is new, no matter whether it's Amazon, a new third-party FBA seller, or a new third-party FBM seller. It just has to be in new condition. It is not who holds the buy box or anything like that. You can also turn on new third-party FBA, and these will show up as little triangles right here, and you'll be able to see who the new third-party FBA or fulfillment by Amazon seller is. You can even click on that data and you'll be able to see when the offer was found, when this seller was first seen on a listing. They have been on this listing for almost a year now. When they were last seen, what kind of seller they are, the price type. This is a new third-party FBA. What their price was when this data was pulled, and what their stock was when this data was pulled. You'll also be able to see a pricing history for this particular seller, and you'll be able to see a stock history for this seller as well. You can see that they had one in stock, they went out of stock, and then they restocked all the way to 241 units, and we can see that that is dwindling now as they are the only seller on this listing. There is an estimate of the sold in the last 30 days based on the stock history when they pull the data. Keepa believes that 139 units have been sold over the past 30 days, and they've sold 632 units since this offer was first seen. You can also see the name of the seller, and if you click on the name of the seller, it'll actually open it up in Keepa there for you. And if you click on this little box right here, it'll actually take you to their Amazon seller profile and their seller overview inside of Keepa so that you could do some storefront stalking or learn a little bit about that storefront to see what you might be able to learn. Now, the next thing you can see new third-party FBM sellers in here. There have actually been none over the past 180 days. They've all been FBA sellers. But if we go back a little further, you'll be able to see the new third-party FBM sellers. And these are these blue little squares right here. You click on them again and you'll be able to get these same data that you got from the new third-party FBA seller. Now, one myth that I should share with you that a lot of people think is that these dots, whether it's new third-party FBA or new third-party FBM, are indicative of sales. They are not indicative of sales. This little triangle does not mean that a FBA seller got a sale. It just means that that is when Keepa actually pulled the data, and they're showing you a data point in time. So on March 20th at 1:13 in the afternoon, Keepa pulled who the FBA seller was on this listing and let us know. All right, that's all that means. So don't listen to anybody who says that that means that there was a sale right there, right? Now, there are a few more pieces of data in here. You can see the used prices. It's not going to have it for this particular item. You can see used good, and you can see other variations of used if they are available. You'll also see that the list price is available here. However, list price does not really matter. It'll show a brown line. You don't ever need to worry about that. We are not worried about the list price of anything. We don't sell for list price. Whether we sell above it or below it, it doesn't really matter. And oftentimes those list prices are incorrect. Now, this second graph here is going to be the subcategory. Now, it does show you the top level category of beauty and personal care, and that will match what is in this top BSR or sales rank line. Those should match exactly. But then you can also see the subcategory, the foot and hand care second level category, and that is the sales rank in that subcategory. The subcategory sales rank should run parallel with the top level category. It won't always be exact, but it will run pretty close. If it's not, there's something off and you might need to dive a little bit deeper And then, of course, we have the third level subcategory. This again will run parallel with the second level category and the top level category. And if there is a massive difference, you're going to want to look a little bit deeper just to make sure something is not askew. And then finally, we have this monthly sold figure. Now, there are a couple of things that everyone should know about this monthly sold figure because it does not actually mean the amount that has been sold. So this is something that Amazon actually gives to products, and Keepa gathers the data and shows it to us in a nice, easy to read manner. As a matter of fact, if you come up here, you will see 50 plus bought in the past month. But there are some things that you should know about this, okay? This just tracks that bought in the past month badge. It is a trailing 30-day count, all right? Shown just like Amazon shows in the search engine result pages, and each point records what Amazon showed that particular day. Amazon brackets these at 50 plus, 100 plus. They're not exact numbers. They are updated every hour, just like sales rank is, and they're always looking back over the past 30 days. However, they don't actually mean sales. What the 50 plus means is that there have been 50 or more customers who have made a purchase of this particular product. And this also means that if this product sells on average 1.5 units for every person who purchases, that it's sold more than the 50 plus. It doesn't count any returns. It doesn't count any canceled transactions. It's just people who have made a purchase, and it is number of customers that have made a purchase. So for example, if the average number of units purchased on this particular product was 2, we'd actually be closer to 100 units sold per month. Now, here's the thing. That doesn't really matter because like everything Keepa gives us and like most things Amazon gives us, this is directionally accurate. It is not meant to be 100% perfectly accurate down to the number that I know that this is selling 50 units per month. There is one other seller on this listing, and I should be able to buy 25 units and be able to sell those in 30 days. The only way to know exactly how many units you're going to be able to sell is by actually making a test purchase, sending them into Amazon, and seeing how quickly they sell based on the price that you price your inventory. And then you can make better decisions going forward because you'll have a data point that is actually accurate, okay? Now, in this third box down here, there are several things. Number one is going to be the actual rating of the product. You can see that this has a 4.7 star rating at the moment. I don't ever leave that turned on. It doesn't really matter. I will sell things outside of shoes and clothing that have a 1-star rating, a 2-star rating, because typically, unless it's something that is frequently returned, it's people complaining about price, especially around Q4 or the holiday seasons when prices get a bit high. Now, the thing I do like to see is the rating count. This is the total number of star ratings that are given to a particular product by buyers. All right. Now, this used to be review count, actual written reviews. Now it's just the star rating. But this can also be indicative of the number of sales happening on a product. I usually figure it's about 3 sales for every 1-star rating. You might even say 5 sales or 10 sales for every 1-star rating that gets left. And this can give you some indication of how much is actually selling based on the number of customers leaving ratings. But again, directionally accurate. And this is useful when there is no sales rank. And I'll show you an example of that here shortly. The next thing here is the new offer count line. This lets us know how many sellers are coming in and going off of that listing. There is a new offer count. This is going to be total number of new sellers, whether they are Amazon, whether they are new third-party FBA, or new third-party FBM. And then we also have, this is new, broken down by the new FBA offer count. There's also, in some cases, a new FBM offer count in another color. And that will separate out how many FBA offers there are and how many FBM offers there are. And we can see that with the movement It's indicative that sales are happening because sellers are going in and out of stock, maybe replenishing, things like that. So not only do we want to see some BSR movement, but we do also want to see some movement in the seller count. And we want to give a little bit more weight to the FBA seller count, because if they are a merchant fulfilled seller, they can sell it on another platform, or maybe even be drop shipping against terms of service and maybe remove their listing, and it can make it look like there have been sales when maybe there have not been any. You can also see used offer count if that is available. There have not been any used offers on this particular listing. Now again, you can see the close-up view right here. I like to keep that turned off. You can see how that sort of skews the data. We want to see something that is much more indicative of what's actually happening, not make this look like the number of reviews is skyrocketing or anything like that. Okay. And then we have the range. We can see a week. We can see the month, 3 months, 180 days, the year, or the entirety of this listing. Now, some of the other things that we can do is we can come into any one of these graphs. We can click and hold and drag our mouse, and we'll be able to zoom in on any one particular area where maybe we need some more data. So if we go out over the past year and I really want to know what happens in December of this for this product in Q4, well, we can see right here, it looks like this past Q4, the price ended up going up. It even went out of stock for a little bit. It came back in stock at a much higher price, and the sales rank moved along at a regular clip, but nothing crazy. But we did get that 50 plus sold badge in December, meaning even though it may not sell the lights out of it, it did get a bit of a Q4 bump, just like about everything does on Amazon. All right. So that's what you need to know about this section. Next, we're going to go into the track product section. The track product section is the section that we're going to talk about now. And in this section, I'm going to show you a different example here. This particular item is currently dropped in price on Amazon. Lowest price it's ever been, at least over the past, well, looks like all time. So this is an item that would get alerted if I had set this up as a price tracker. Now, normally this is somewhere between, say, $179 and $199 on Amazon. Right now, this is $99. All right, you can see right there, this is $99 at the moment. Now, here's the thing. If I were to come here tomorrow, I may not be able to get this price. Maybe this price is gone tomorrow. However, chances are this will very likely drop in price again. Well, how can I be alerted to that? Well, that is what the track product is for. In this track product section, we can track things in a bunch of different areas. Number one, we can track if the item goes out of stock. If the item is currently out of stock, we can get notified when it comes back in stock. Okay, so either way, and we can do both of them. We want to get alerted when it goes out of stock, and we also want to get alerted when it comes back in stock. We can see both of these. Matter of fact, this back in stock alert is exactly how I bought my son a Nido at retail price from Amazon, rather than paying the $45 or $50 for some of them. Okay. Now, some of the other things that we can do is we can track by price. Buy box price is the very first one we see. Doesn't matter who's in the buy box. Can be Amazon, can be a third-party seller, can be a merchant fulfilled seller, an FBA seller, doesn't really matter. And we can put our price in here. Now, we have it set so that it automatically tracks the price 25% lower than the current price. 25% lower than $99 is $74.25. But we want to track this back down to $99, all right? Because that's where it was at its lowest. We want to be able to get it at its lowest yet again. However, you don't only have to track this at $99, or sorry, at a price drop. You can also switch to increase the price. So let's say, for example, that we want to know when this price goes back to $179 or more. Well, Chris, why the heck would you do that? That is a great question. The reason we would do that is our old leads. Let's say that something that we have sold for the last couple of months has finally started to have that price erosion that happens as more sellers come on a listing. Well, the thing is that doesn't always stay the case. It can also go back up. We've been seeing that more and more on Amazon recently as the number of sellers on the platform has gone down. So if you sell something that is normally profitable at $39, but the price has come down to $25, you can set up tracking for the buy box to go back to $39 or $37 or more and be notified when that price goes back up, okay? Very powerful thing to do to be able to go in and track your old leads for when they become profitable again. Now, you can also track by the Amazon price, both down or 74.25 or less, and you can switch that to or more. You can track Amazon out of stock and back in stock if you would like to, and we can also get notified of lightning deals if you would like, or you can turn that off if it's for Amazon, or if it's an Amazon to Amazon flip. You can track by lightning deal price, both down and up. We can also track by the new price. The new price, both out of stock and back in stock, is also available. The new is going to be by a third-party seller or Amazon. Doesn't matter which one, just going to be a new price. This is actually the one that I use most often because it tracks both new third-party sellers and Amazon. You could track new third-party FBA if you would prefer. This is going to be a third-party seller with fulfillment by Amazon. You can track new third-party merchant fulfilled sellers. You can also track the offer count. So if you want to sell on a particular listing when the offer count comes back down, maybe something has risen from 20 sellers to 50 sellers, and you're much more comfortable when it's back down around 20 sellers because you know the price will go back up. Well, you can track it by the number of offers. So you could say something like 25 or fewer sellers. You could also track things on the way up. You could say 35 or more sellers, whatever you might want to do there. You can also track by the new FBA offer count, the new FBM offer count, and then you can track by the used prices as well. Used, warehouse deals, used like new, used very good, and so on. We're not going to go through all of those because it's the same as this new offer count. Now, you can also pop in a memo if you would like. So for example, if you want to put in let's say you're tracking the price back up and you also want to put in your source in here, you could put that in the memo, or you could put in a note that you might know of, and you could also put in a tag if you would like to. So we'll put in coffee maker here. Maybe I like to sell a lot of coffee makers. I could tag this with coffee maker and only see my coffee maker tags in my tracking section of Keepa.com. Now, in the pro version of tracking, there is even more. There is the sales rank that we can track by. So if we want to track this for when the sales rank drops to, let's say, below 100,000, we could track that. We could track the sales rank back up as well. We could track the rating. This is not really going to be useful. We could track the rating count. We can track the buy box used. This is especially helpful for things like media. We can track the list price, not useful at all. You can track by collectible offer count, the trade-in value, the refurbished price, and the refurbished offer count. And then you can decide how long you want to track something. So I have mine set to a year, and you hit start tracking. And of course, this is the pro tracking mode. Now, the other thing you can do is you can compare international prices, meaning we can see this across multiple marketplaces to see if there's any opportunity for inter-marketplace flips. So we can see, for example, that in North America, the price on this is $303.82. That's going to be Mexico. In Canada, the buy box price is $420.69. And we need to show NorthAmerica.com as well. Let me open this back up. We will go to compare international prices. And now we can see in the US, it's not actually showing the buy box price for some reason. But we can see the prices across all these other marketplaces. We can also see the sales rank in all of these different marketplaces. It sells well on the US, doesn't really sell in the UK. Canada sells very rarely. Mexico looks like it sells even more rarely than Canada. We can also see the actual buy box price across all those marketplaces, the new price across all those marketplaces, and where Amazon is actually selling this particular item, right? And that can help you be able to do flips from one marketplace to another. You can also track across multiple Amazon marketplaces. So if you wanted to be able to track in the Canadian marketplace along with the United States marketplace, you can enable those selected locations as well to track in more than one place. All right. And that is what you can do in the tracking feature. Now, later on, when we go to Keepa.com, I'll actually show you where all of these tracked products live. Next up, we're going to go into this data section. This data section is incredibly powerful. But before we dive into the data section, I have turned this entire video into a massive guide, a written guide that you can refer to on a regular basis. There are also going to be some timestamps in there if you want to watch a particular portion of the video, and you can get that down in the video description if you would like. Grab that absolutely free as a companion to this video. So make sure to go grab that down in the video description. All right, now in the data section, the very first thing we're going to see here is the product details. Now this is going to get rather granular, but we can see the image, we can see the title, what category it's in, the sales rank reference. And if we open this up and click on this little box out here, well, if we open up that particular category, it's going to show us the product best sellers on this particular category. I'm going to knock this down to just 100 so it will load a little bit faster, but we can see the top 10,000 best sellers in any particular top level category. I'm showing the first 100. And then the other thing we can do is we can actually open up this category on Amazon if we wanted to go in and see what is being offered in this category on Amazon directly from that data section. We can see the sales rank display group, how many were bought in the past month, what the current rating is, how many reviews there are, or the rating count, when the last price change was. That data is not accurate, but it's there. We can see who the buy box seller is right now. And just like we could in the Keepa graph, we can click on these to go to their storefront, either in Keepa, the seller overview, or their storefront on Amazon. We can see who is holding the buy box. Is it an FBA seller or not? Is there subscribe and save available? We see the lowest FBA seller, which can be different from who's in the buy box. You don't always have to be the lowest to get the buy box. You can see the FBA pick and pack fee, the referral fee for this particular item, what the referral fee is going to be based on the current buy box price, how many offers there are on this listing or how many sellers there are, how long it's been tracked since, when it was listed, the actual URL slug of this particular item, the root category, and you can click on these to open them up on Amazon, this little box here, or you can open up the best sellers right here by clicking on the title. The subcategories, again, you can do the same thing, opening those up on Keepa or on Amazon. And then we have the category tree. Beauty and personal care is the top level, then skincare, then body, then cleansers, then hand wash. And each one of these are openable inside of Keepa, as well as openable up on Amazon as well. You can see the website display group name. It says kitchen. That seems off. You see the ASIN. These product codes are available to you if you wanted to use those to do a UPC search on Google or something like that. You can see the type of product it is, the manufacturer. We see the brand here, and if we click on this, we'll actually be able to open up this entire brand on Keepa to be able to source the entire brand. So if we're able to sell one of their products, can we go and find 2, 3, 10, 5 more? There are 635 products from this one particular brand. And if we can find one profitably, it's very possible that we'll find more profitably. We can do that across the manufacturer, across the brand store name, and the brand store URL name. We also get the actual URL for the brand store. We see the model number, what size it is. This is an 8.4 ounce pack of one, the actual unit value of 8.4 ounces, the scent. And if we click on this, we can actually only open up things that are scented English lavender. So if we wanted to really get weird and only source things that are have this scent, we could do that. Same with the item form, the item type, the target audience, the recommended uses. We get a bunch of stuff here. We get the package dimensions, the weights, etc. And this data right here could all be used to find similarly sized products if we want to make sure to stay within a certain size category on Amazon. And then over on the right-hand side, we get a lot of current and averages. We're going to get to see all of the current and average sales rank data, including the actual sales rank, the average sales rank, the lowest, the highest, etc. We also get to see the average number of drops over the past 30, 90, and 180, and even 365 days. We see the number of reviews over the past 90, 180, and 365 days. We get buy box information as well. We get to see the buy box stock, how long the buy box has been out of stock over the past 90 days, Amazon lowest price and highest price, the new price data and averages, the new third-party FBA and FBM price data and averages, and then any used price data and averages. And then finally, we get the new offer count averages, number of sellers. So over the past 365 days, there have been an average number of 3 new offers for this particular listing on Amazon. Now, the question is, what can we actually do with all of this data? Well, let's say, for example, that this product does very well for you, or you are going to sell this product. Well, it would be a good idea to gather some of this data and actually go out and create some filters inside of Keepa Product Finder that find similar products to this. Maybe they're in the same category. Maybe they have some of the same average ranks. Maybe they have some of the same average prices. Chances are, if you found one product that has the characteristics of this, just like you can sell some of the other products of this particular brand, you can also sell products that have similar characteristics. Now, the next part of this data tab is going to be the offers tab. And in this offers tab, we can do a lot of things. Number one, you can configure the columns, okay? And I have almost everything turned on in here, but configure those to show you the data that's most important for you. You can export all of the offer data, the price, the condition, stock history, price history, who's selling it, etc. You can also see what the number of results are here. You can see the graph range in days. So this is showing over the past 190 days. I'm going to look out over the past 180 days. There is a glossary here to tell us what everything means if you need to look at that. And then we can also see, we can choose to look at sellers based on their shipping. Are they Prime? Are they offering free shipping? Are they FBA only? Are they FBM only? You can also filter by the condition, new and used, and what condition it was in used. I'm going to go ahead and turn the used off. We're only going to look for new condition sellers. But one of the things that many people overlook is including the historical offers. Historically on this particular listing, there have been a total of 70 sellers. Now, just because a seller is not currently on the listing does not necessarily mean that we may not want to stalk their storefront. We may want to. So we're going to see here when these were last seen on the listing, and we can see that K and B sales, even though they are not on the listing right now, they were on the listing 2 months ago. They are a very good seller at 6,000 reviews, 100% rating. This could be a storefront that maybe you want to go out and see if you could stalk them. This seller here has 63 reviews, 100% rating. They were last on this listing 3 months ago, first seen 22 months ago. It's not that they may not be a good seller. They may have just moved on to other products. And it looks like they may have sold up to 352 items on this particular listing. We'll go out over all, and sure enough, they had quite a few in stock, and they had a ton come in stock here, and it looks like they sold through all of their listings on this particular listing. All right, so you can find some sellers on here who may be really great that you can go out and storefront stock. You can open them up on Keepa. You can open them up on Amazon. You can see here, you can see their seller information. Over here, you get to see their actual storefront. Great way to find some sellers that a lot of other people who are storefront stalking are not going to find. Now, the other thing you can do is, and you're going to want to take this information directionally rather than perfectly accurate, but you can see the stock history of other sellers to see how much they're selling through to help inform you as to how much you may be able to sell through. So you can see that back on May 1st, which was about a month and a half ago, they had 241 in stock. Now they have 94. They have sold quite a bit over that time period, well over 100 in a little over a month and a half, meaning you might also be able to take a portion of those sales. Now, you do need to be a little bit careful with this data because this data can be a little misleading. There are things like FC transfers that will make things look like sales, and people can hide how much they actually have in stock with some things that you can do inside of Seller Central. All right. This is a great way to gather a lot of data in the offers section. Next up is the buy box statistics. The buy box statistics lets you know that the buy box can be shared between multiple sellers, and but it does try to tell you who has what share of the buy box. So we're going to look out over the past 365 days, and now we can see that over the past 365 days, this seller here seems to have won the buy box about 44% of the time. This seller here has 10%, 3%, and less than 1% for these sellers down here. But we did see, even with less than 1%, how much K&B sales was able to move. Now, again, this data is going to be directionally correct. It's not going to be 100% accurate because Keepa does not gather the data every single minute of every single day. It's only when Keepa is going out and gathering this data. And we can look right now and see this shows last updated 19 minutes ago. We're going to refresh this page, and Keepa will tell us another number, and we'll see how old this data actually is. So this data is actually, well, now it's 7 minutes old because I've been on the listing. So Keepa's been able to scrape this information quite a bit. You can also see this same information in the used statistics. This is going to be a lot more helpful if you're selling things like used books, doing online used book arbitrage or something like that. And then, of course, back to the settings section. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we do need to talk about one more feature inside of Keepa, and that is the variations tab. This is going to be something that you need to know when there are multiple variations on a listing. The very first thing that you should know about variations on a listing is that the sales rank, when there are multiple variations, the sales rank is all of the variations put together. It is not just the particular listing that you are looking at. So this particular shoe on Amazon currently has 36 different sizes and colors on Amazon. It doesn't matter if this 7.5, 8 in black sells, or if this 9.5, 10 wide in black sells. That will influence the sales rank equally, okay? But the variations tab will help us figure out a few things, all right? So number one, you can enable tracking mode. If we wanted to track every single variation on this particular listing, we could track each variation for price drops, back in stock, etc. Okay. We can also configure our columns. I like to see the buy box information, the new offer count, the reviews, the ASIN, the color, the image, the size, the title, how long it's been tracked, and some of the variation attributes. You can also export all of this data, all active columns, only the ASINs. You can put it into an Excel file or a CSV, and you can include currency symbols in the export if you choose to. You can see the number of results that are available here. You can open all of these in the product viewer if you want to see these in a different view. You want to see them in a Keepa product viewer page, you can do that. And then we can choose the graph range. So we're showing over the past 90 days. We're actually going to look out over the past 180 days so we can see a little bit more data. And then, of course, there is a glossary as well. Now, one of the things that a lot of people don't know is you can also include out of stock and historical variations right here. And what this will do is this will actually show you some of the variations that may no longer be on Amazon. So I'm going to show you why this is important really quick. This item right here, this variation, which is 7.5, 8 in black, looks to be the one that has the most reviews, has 22 ratings. It's got that little winner symbol by it. 15% of the reviews come to this particular variation. However, this item right here, which I'm not exactly, it's a 7.5, 8 in a saddle color. Okay. This one has 13 reviews, and we can see that the number of reviews went up very quickly over the past 90 days or so, meaning this item very likely sold pretty well, but it is currently not able to be found on Amazon at all. We don't even know what the current price is, okay, or what the price was the last time it was on Amazon. We'd have to dive a bit deeper to see if we could find it. But if we could bring this particular item back to Amazon, we may actually be able to do very well because we are the only seller for this variation that is no longer offered on Amazon, okay? Matter of fact, all three of these variations look like they did fairly well, and they're no longer available, okay? So that is something that a lot of people don't know. You can also include international Amazon prices if you so choose, but then down here we get a lot of other data. The most important may be the actual price history. What is happening to the price on this? Is it priced much differently than the other variations on the listing? Are we seeing a lot of downward pressure on the price? Okay, we can see the title. We get to see the history of the offer count. We can see back in July of last year, it was 28 offers, and it's been 24 in January, and it's come down to 17 offers. So we know that this listing is actually selling, and it looks like this price may have come down a bit, to 138 from about 144. So there's been a little bit of price erosion recently, but not a ton price erosion recently, okay? We can also see the number of reviews and the percentage of reviews, the review history, okay? Is it going up? We can see the size and the color information, and then, of course, the color and the size as well over here, and then how many new offers are on this particular listing, and then how long this item has been tracked. Now, the reason that some of this information is important is, let's say that we actually sort by the number of sellers on this listing. Well, the item with the most number of sellers, the one that we were looking at first, actually had 17 sellers. This one looks like it might actually be the winner. This is the one we want to hop on. It has that price of $138.36. We see the number of sellers going down. It looks like the price it is actually selling through. It's getting the most number of reviews, etc. However, if we actually filter this to look at the least number of sellers, well, we can see here that the price has recovered on this to $99.99. So can I find this profitably? Okay, it's a navy color, not an unusual color. It's a 7.5, 8, which is a normal size. The number of sellers is coming down, indicating sales. The number of reviews is going up, indicating sales. But look at this. This has only been tracked for 1,265 days. This is 1,000 days newer than the listing that has 17 sellers on it currently. In my opinion, because this only has one seller on the listing, this would actually be the better listing to be on if we can find it profitably, because we're only competing with one other person, okay? Same goes for this. Now, this one is priced lower at $78, but we can see that the sellers are coming down, indicating sales. This is kind of a weird color. Size isn't so far off, but this one's only 951 days old and only has one seller. So when you are looking at variation data, make sure that you are taking a holistic view of the variation data and not just which one has the most reviews, okay? You need to look a bit deeper than just the number of reviews, because there is so much more that matters on a variation listing. All right. Now, next thing we're going to do is we're going to hop into Keepa.com, and we're going to find out all of the information that Keepa.com has available to us. All right, now we're on Keepa.com, and this is its homepage. On the Keepa homepage, you're going to have several things. Number one, it's going to let you know what all the features are. It's going to help you add the extension to Chrome, but there are also other browser extensions that you can download. There's Opera, there's Edge, there's Firefox. You can also get this as a mobile app. You will definitely want to download the mobile app, whether it's on Android or on Apple. But this is how you can actually get notifications pushed to your phone for the items that you are tracking. It'll tell you what the core features are, what the pro features are, and then it lets you know that they're monitoring 6.8 billion products across all of these marketplaces, 1.5 billion products just on the Amazon.com marketplace, and several of these others have hundreds of millions of products that are being tracked and updated so that you can make good sourcing decisions. Now, you can also, up here in the top right-hand corner, you can change the language to whatever language that you might choose. You can change the locale or the marketplace. So this works on the US marketplace, Canada, Mexico, Brazil, the UK, Germany, France, Italy, Spain, Japan, and India. It does not work in places like Dubai or Australia or any of some of the other places that Amazon currently is, but that does change all the time. You can see that what your item is. I have the Pro account. You can go into your settings and change the settings just like we did over on the actual app. I have my email notifications turned on to my email. You can connect this to Telegram. The web push notifications no longer works. Again, it'll tell you to get the mobile app. It'll show you how to use the RSS feed, whether you want the lightning deals, and how often you want that alert timer to be rearmed. You can change your subscription over here. I pay $567 a year because I have multiple people that use my account, or 567 pounds. It starts at 189 pounds per year. That's a little over $200. And you can also add in some API access if you would like. You can also see your account information here and what computers it's been on. So you can see that, you know, I access it from the US, but I also have some folks who access it outside of the US. And then, of course, you can check out the website here and what settings are on the actual website. And we went over all of these. Then there's also your API access. I won't go into that, but you can access the Amazon API and access it through Claude or other ways. You can build your own programs, things like that, and gather data through their program interface. But we're not going to be teaching about that because this isn't a coding course. This is going to be a Keepa course. The first place you're going to see is the Keepa Deals section. In the Keepa Deals section, we can see all of the price drops on Amazon based on our filters. And you can even save some of your filters. So currently, based on my filters, there are 25,548 different price drops that are out here. We can view this as a table, or we can view this as product boxes. The table probably helps us see the most amount of data. pretty quickly. We can see what the price is currently and what this looks like. It's $18.98, and we see a month of price history. The one-day drop on this item is 5%, down to a dollar drop, a 21% drop over the past 7 days, or a $5.02 drop. The 30-day drop is 30%, or $8.05, and the 90-day drop is 34%, or $9.80. This is obviously an item that they've had to drop the price on multiple times to be able to probably try to get some sales going on. We can see the image, the brand, the title, and these are also clickable. The current sales rank, the one-day drop sales rank, 7-day sales rank drop, 30-day sales rank drop, etc. How many reviews and ratings there are, when the deal was found, and what the current buy box is, along with the buy box drops. And then, of course, we have Amazon data and all of this other data to help us make buying decisions. It's a lot of data, and you don't need all of it at all. Really, the biggest thing you're going to be able to need is to look at that Keepa graph and see if it would make sense for you to go after an item for something like an Amazon to Amazon flip. Now, we can choose the deal type. We can choose sales rank, meaning that we would see items where the sales rank has dropped. We can choose the buy box, meaning the buy box price has dropped, whether that is a third-party seller or Amazon in the buy box. We can choose Amazon only, meaning Amazon is the only seller on these particular listings. Or sorry, Amazon is one of the sellers on these particular listings. So this item right here, Amazon price has dropped by 43% over the day. And if we look at that down here in the bottom right-hand corner, we can see that the price was in the 50s and it has dropped all the way down to the mid 30s on this particular item. It's dropped about $25 in price, or 43%. And we could look a little bit closer at this to see, is this something that would make sense for an Amazon to Amazon flip? It's not likely that this would make sense for an Amazon to Amazon flip. We could choose new. This will be any new seller, whether it is third-party FBA, third-party FBM, or Amazon. We can look at new third-party FBA deals, third-party FBM deals, new Prime exclusive, which you cannot use for Amazon to Amazon flips, lightning deals, again, you cannot use for Amazon to Amazon flips. And then you can look at the buy box used. So we've got used like new, etc. You can look for all of those deals as well. You can also look at refurbished, collectible, and trade-in. We can then limit the drop interval by a day, a week, a month, or 3 months, or all combined. My suggestion, if you're gonna do Amazon to Amazon flips and you're new to it, rather than learning all of the intricacies, do Amazon as the deal type. Change this to the drop interval of about a week so that you're not seeing too many items at once. And then we can select some ranges. So in the drop percent range, I do a 30% to a 100% drop, meaning that the price needs to drop by at least 30% for it to show up as a deal here. We can also do a price drop range. So I could say, hey, I only want to see things that have dropped at least $5 in price or more. And that brings me down from 2,300 to 1,875. And so it has to match multiple filters here. It has to be Amazon, has to be within the last week. The drop percentage has to be at least 30%. And the price drop range has to be at least $5 all the way up to $100. I'm also only tracking the last price change, not all price changes. And then, of course, my price range. I could say, hey, I can see everything from $0 all the way up to over 500, but maybe I only want to see items that are, we'll say, $12 or higher in price. And now I'm down to 1679 in the number of offers that fit all of this criteria. We can also filter by the sales rank. You can see I have minimum set to all, and I have the maximum set to 500,000 for the sales rank range. We could also choose the minimum rating on a particular item. I have it set to, it doesn't really matter, none. You could say, oh, I only want to see items that have 3 stars or better for clothing, things like that. Now, there are also some other filters here. It could be the lowest ever, the lowest over the past 90 days, the lowest new offer, out of stock, has an Amazon offer. We're only looking at Amazon deals right now, so that's grayed out. No Amazon offer. Again, we're looking at only Amazon deals, so that is grayed out as well. Must have reviews. Okay, that way these items do have some indication that they are selling. Is Prime exclusive? We don't want that if we're doing Amazon to Amazon flips. I've filtered out adult items because this does need to be a PG show for anybody who might have some kids around. And then I have show only one variation per product. Now, what that means is that on a product like this Aeropostale item on Keepa here, this sorry, I didn't mean to click on the actual brand. I'll actually pull up the title here. This item has multiple variations, and this item is down to $13.54. If we look at the variations, we might actually be able to see that some other items have also dropped in price. This item at $13.54, this one at $18.08. So there are other variations that have dropped in price, but we're only seeing one of them at a time to reduce our results. If we remove that filter, we're actually going to go from 1,800 to 2,500 results because it's going to show us every variation individually. There are some more filters in here. These are things that you're probably not going to use, but you can filter by type or brand or size or manufacturer, etc. I get a little granular if I want to go in and look at Kindle books that may have dropped in price, but maybe you just want to go after Adidas or Nike or Puma that have dropped in price. Well, you could get granular there as well. And then, of course, we can sort. We can sort by the percentage drop being highest to lowest or lowest to highest. This particular item right here has dropped 66%, 67% over the past 7 days. And so this is the largest drop as a percent wise. We can sort by the actual drop itself, price-wise. This particular item has dropped $981 over the past 7 days, or 33% of its price. We can also sort that the other direction, the lowest amount of price to the highest. We can sort by price. This is going to sort lowest to highest first. So these Gerber items right here, they're currently $4.45 on Amazon. These are the lowest price item on Amazon. $4.45 is what it was $4.45 was the drop. $12 is actually the buy box price. The average price on this looks to be about $25. So that is a 40 some or 32% drop on that particular item. We can also sort those by the highest price. I typically look at the newest first. This is going to give us the item that has dropped in price most recently. This item was not here just a few minutes ago, but now we have this Pet Maker Pet Stare item, and this item just recently dropped in price. It was at $194.99, and here just a moment ago, this dropped to $107.24. Very late here. It's 10:30 at night. So we see the newest one. The newest one here at the top. And then, of course, we can also sort by sales rank. So we can actually see the best sales rank item first. This item right here is currently a 5 in its category, and it has dropped 33% over the past 7 days. We can see what it's done there in the price in that bottom right-hand corner. Now, some of the things that you're going to want to know if you want to do Amazon to Amazon flips is you're looking for products that have had a price drop for one reason or another, and it looks like the price is very likely going to come back. So if we look at this item right here, this item is actually closer to the normal price. Every now and again, it jumps up to $195. So that's not really going to be something that's going to be a solid Amazon to Amazon flip. But if we look through here, we'll very likely see something that may work. So this, for example, the current price on this is $24.99. But over time, it looks like it does hit that $36 to $42 range, and that price goes up significantly more when that third-party seller Groove is not on the listing. Okay, so that's a potential Amazon to Amazon flip. Maybe not enough movement there, but if we scroll through here, we are going to end up finding some items that will work. This item here looks like it's dropped down into the 30 range and normally looks like it runs around the $50 range. So there could be some movement on that. This item has actually dropped $30 recently in price, and that one's maybe not so great either. But that is what Amazon to Amazon flips is all about. It's just finding when a price drops for one reason or another. This one might actually be a great example. This is normally around the $37 to $44 range. Right now, it's at $22.49. If you could sell this item for that $44 area, wait for that price to go back up, you would likely make a little bit of money on that Amazon to Amazon flip. Although I see Amazon's the only seller on that thing. Okay. And that's how Amazon to Amazon flips work. It's very straightforward. Buy low, sell when the price is higher, and Keepa Deals can help you with that. You can, of course, export all of this data. There is a glossary. And one of the other things you can do is you can save your filters. So if you click on this plus button over here, you can rename this certain filter right here, whatever you want to. So this is Keepa course video filter for what we set this evening. And of course, I forgot to get everything out of there. Keepa course filter. And so now we can save that and we're able to see we can come back to these. So we can see your deals here. We can see new A to A, new 30% off toys. This is going to be toys only. And there's a lot of other things that we can mess with in here. All right. Now, the next thing is our actual tracking section. In the tracking section, we can see our tracking overview. We can see our recent notifications. We can search these items. We can also look at deals on any recent price drops, and then our Amazon browser extensions back in the tracking section. This tracking overview section, again, for some reason, it's not loading, missing our tracked products. We might need to make sure that there are no filters going on. Let's see what we have set in here. Comfortable. Let's go ahead and there we go. We can reset everything. And now we can see all 28 items that I'm currently tracking. It'll show you what the item actually is. It'll show you that buy box line. It'll show you the sales rank information, when Amazon's on it. You can also turn on the new price. You can turn on new third-party FBA, new third-party FBM, etc., and so on. And then, of course, we actually get to see what our desired price is. My desired price here is $240, where this item typically sells at $379 to $399 and so on in here. I don't know where the $240 came from, but that is what I'm tracking this particular item at. We can also search these. So if we wanted to see if I have any Nike in here, we could pull up Nike. If I wanted to see if I've got Sennheiser, it'll pull up Sennheiser. We can also sort these by when we started tracking, the difference to the desired price, the change since the last visit, the change since started tracking, and the product title. We can put these any way that we might want to. We can also put some more filters in here. Do we want Amazon.com or any other locations that we might be tracking? Do we want all the categories turned on? You can see I have some books, some electronics, some video games. Do I want to see only conditions met or not met? And the active trackings. Is it Amazon? Is it buy box? Is it lightning deals? Is it new third-party FBA or new third-party FBM? Are they expiring soon? What's the tracking type, and what tags are in here? We can filter by all of those. Operations allows us to delete or export any of these. We could also open up all of these in a product viewer and look at them in this format if we prefer. Okay. Now, back to the tracking section. There's also our recent notifications. What recent notifications have we gotten? Well, I got some Crunchyroll. I got a Ninja glassware container for a good price. Those are the recent notifications that I've gotten, and it'll also tell you the API recent notifications. You can search for items right here if you would choose. This is just going to pull anything up on Amazon. We'll look up Ninja, say Ninja Crispy, for example, and it'll actually pull up all of the Ninja Crispy items there. You can go back to the deals section and find the browser extensions. You can also see wish lists. Now, this actually no longer works. There is a workaround if you want to, but this is not really a very useful piece of Keepa. We go to the apps section. We've talked about this already. You can grab your browser extensions here. You've got the mobile app that you can download. And of course, there is the Keepa API, which we're not going to get into. We've talked about the resources already. You can also check out the site features. There is an FAQ section, which is not very deep, a news section, which we've talked about. There is an affiliate program. And if you share this with people, you will get paid about $8 for every person who decides to buy a Keepa account. That is $8 one time, not $8 a month. So you're not going to make a ton of money on this. You can see I have not made a whole lot of money over the years. And then, of course, their disclaimer, right? We've talked about the search section. You can search by title, ASIN, UPC, any of the information that Amazon has or that Keepa has, you can search for it. You could search for the color red and only pull up items that are red on Amazon as well. All right. Now, there is the Pro section. And in the Pro section, there is a lot to get to, so we're going to go over this next. The Keepa Pro section has a lot to dive into. Number one, they have the Keepa API access. You want to be able to automate some things. This is where you're going to need to go and learn. Now, again, this is not a course about being able to teach you how to use the API. Go out and use Grok or Perplexity or Claude or ChatGPT to be able to figure out what you might be able to do with the Keepa API. Just realize that you are going to be limited by your tokens, and with the regular $25 a month or $200 a year plan, you are going to be extremely limited on your token use, and you may need to purchase extra tokens, which is something that we have done. The next thing that you can see inside of the Keepa Pro account is the category tree. This will actually show you the size of every single category on Amazon and break down exactly what is inside each category. For example, if we go to arts, crafts, and sewing, you'll see that in the arts, crafts, and sewing top level category, there are 12 subcategories: beading and jewelry making, crafting, etc. And under each one of these, there are more subcategories. And under some of those, there are even more subcategories. It breaks down each one of those, and it lets you know how many products are in each one of those top level categories as well as subcategories. What's in the top 1%, 2%, and 3%, as well as the highest root category sales rank and the lowest root category sales rank in that particular subcategory, the average buy box price, the average buy box drop percentage, the average review count, the average buy box share, the number of products with an Amazon offer. In basket making, there are 0 Amazon offers, the average new offer count, and of course the seller count in that particular category, as well as the top sellers in that category by buy box offers. This is something that you could actually go in and take a look at and be able to find some of the larger sellers in every category. You can also see how many brands are in each category, what the top brands are, and then of course the website display group. And you can of course configure all of these columns. I don't have all of them turned on, but if you did want to see the top sellers and things like that, you could turn on more of those categories and actually see the top sellers in those particular categories as well. And that actually, you can make that larger and you can see quite a bit more there as well. All right, so that is the category tree. Now, the next thing that you can do is you can actually go into the seller lookup and you can actually pull up a particular seller. Maybe you want to storefront stalk them. So, for example, we'll take a look at 24-hour crafts. This is their seller overview. You can see all of their metrics, their lifetime rating, their 30-day rating, 20%. That's not good. Their 365-day rating seems like they have dropped the ball here recently. How many listings they have available? Do they have any FBA listings? This may be someone who is drop shipping, or maybe they have their own business where they sell items and just happen to also list them on Amazon. You can see that they have 99% of the buy box ownership on the items that they sell. And then down here, you get a graph, their rating count, their listing count, and of course, we can break this down by year, 180 days, 3 months, 1 month, etc., to see all kinds of information. Down here, we can see their most recent customer feedbacks, the category listing statistics. So we can see here that they are heavy in the arts, crafts, and sewing category. They are very light in most other categories. And then their seller brand listing statistics. So they're obviously a private label brand, and the only brand that they carry is actually 24-hour crafts. On some of these, there will also be other sellers that they are similar to. So if we were to pull up one of these other sellers, let's go ahead and take a look at Sweetwater Sound, for example. With Sweetwater Sound, it lets us know the top overlapping competitors to go along with it, and we can rabbit trail down to all of these different storefronts and then actually open up those storefronts inside of the Keepa product viewer to be able to storefront stalk those storefronts. And inside of this Keepa product viewer of this storefront, we can actually filter things. So for example, if we only wanted to see the items that are greater than or equal to in the bought in the past month, and we want to do 200, we can hit apply, and we can knock this down to just 54 items that are showing 200 plus or more sales. Any of these categories or these columns that have this little menu by them, we can sort or filter by any of these. These are also, of course, sortable. So we could sort these by the current lowest buy box price, the current highest buy box price, etc. So you can really get granular when you're doing some storefront stalking in here as well. You can configure these columns in here. I actually have some preset columns we'll call simple Keepa. This would be a preset column set that I have showing me just the items that I really need to be able to make some decisions as to whether something deserves a little bit more of a look for me to actually source from here. Now, the next thing, of course, is deals access. We've already looked at that section. That is the Keepa deals section. We talked about the seller lookup. We can also pull up the top seller lists. This will actually give us up to the top 100,000 sellers on Amazon. This is based on the review statistics or the lifetime rating count that they have. So we can see here that Import CDs, which I don't believe is actually a seller on Amazon any longer. Oh, I guess they are. We can actually see that they are the largest seller by lifetime rating count, although they are not the largest seller on Amazon. That actually currently belongs to not PharmaPacks, but I don't see them on here. Anyway, they just went public recently, and Pattern, here we are. Pattern is actually the largest seller by volume, even though they're not the largest seller by lifetime rating count. Now, you can also filter by all of these. For example, if we only want to see, if we want to sort by the sellers that are using FBA, maybe we will want to only see sellers that are have a verified listing in the range of 75 to 350. We can filter by that and see those sellers that are currently on these listings. So Nature Vet, for example, that is going to be a brand owner, but we could run down and we could see that Maple Holistics, well, they're also a brand owner. Let's see. if we've got one here, Hargraves, for example, Hargraves Online, their largest brand is Rugby Laboratories. And they have 240 verified listings. We can open them up on Keepa, and we may be able to see that maybe they're doing some arbitrage based on the fact that they've got several different brands out here, Mentholatum and VH Essentials and Perigo, etc. They're obviously maybe doing wholesale arbitrage, maybe doing online arbitrage or retail arbitrage, but they're very likely an arbitrage seller with a very, very large catalog, or not a super large catalog, 200 different units, but they have been selling for a long time and have 64,000 lifetime reviews. So they may be selling some very high volume listings. All right. You can come up with some storefronts to stalk from here. You can see what other sellers are doing. You can export all of this data, whatever is actually helpful for you. And then we also have the product best sellers. Now, what you can do here is you can actually pick a category. We'll go grocery and gourmet food, and we can actually see the top sellers in this category. I'm showing 100 rows right now. You can go up to 10,000 of the top best sellers. You can expand this out if you want. You can reduce that a little bit. We can configure the columns again. So I'll put in my simple Keepa so that I can see just the things that I really need to see in here to be able to make a decision if I want to source any of these items. We can change things around. We can export this data. We can also change things around by sales rank. We can look at the current sales rank, the top 100 best sellers by 30-day average, 90-day average, and 180-day average. We can also look historically. So if we wanted to see what the top best sellers were in December of 2025 for the holiday season, well, it was all of these items. These items were the best sellers in December of that year. Looks like this item may no longer be on Amazon, or at least there's no data offered to Keepa from Amazon any longer. But this can help you for seasonal purchases to be able to see maybe what kind of toys are the best sellers through the third or the fourth quarter of the year. You can look at every single category in here. And again, we can look for items based on these filters. So if we wanted to see items that are somewhere between 50 and 200 bought in the past month, well, we can filter down to that, but there is nothing in the top 100 that are actually going to show that. Maybe in the top 10,000, we would see something where there are between 50 and 200 sales. So we'll let this load and see what it shows us here. And this is historical. This is December of 2025. So this is going to be outdated data as well. That is loaded. We can actually see that there are some items in here that would have matched that criteria of bought in the past month, but actually it doesn't look like it actually held there. It actually showed us all these other items, but that's okay. You can filter by each one of these if you so choose. Now, the next thing here is the product viewer. We can actually upload a list of ASINs or type in a list of ASINs that we can pull up in the product viewer. For example, I'm going to choose a file here and I'm going to choose some items that I have been ungated with. Box them. We'll just do this box them ungates right here. We'll open this up and we can hit load list. And what this is going to do is this is going to load up to 10,000 of ASINs that I have been ungated in Boxem. And it's going to show me all of the data, just like I were doing a Keepa product finder search, and I could go out and I could actually source these products. I can filter all of these items, which I'll show you here in just a moment once this loads. Now that all of these have loaded, we can see that there are 42 ASINs that failed to load. That's no problem at all, but I do have 9,958 ASINs that know that I am ungated in, that I could go in and I could actually filter. For example, we'll just look at the items that are greater than or equal to 50 bought in the past month. That brings me down to 1,733 different ASINs that have that 50 or plus filter on them. And I could go through and I could source all of these items if I so choose. And this is a great way to be able to upload the ASINs that you have sold in the past, or maybe old lead lists, things like that, and then go in and actually filter by average buy box price, or number of sales, or sales rank, or number of sellers. Any which way that you might want to filter, you can do that here in the product viewer. Now, the very last thing that we're going to be taking a look at, and possibly the most powerful thing, is the Keepa product finder. You're going to want to buckle up because there's a lot to get to. The Keepa product finder does so much. It's not even funny, and you'll be able to find new uses for it all the time. I'm going to try to go through this as quickly as possible because there are so many filters. But the very first set of filters is the sales rank and price types. You can filter by the current 30-day average, 90-day average, 180-day average, and 365-day average sales rank. You could also choose no sales rank, the lowest ever sales rank, or the lowest over the past 90 days. You can also filter by the 1-day drop percentage, 7, 30 and 90-day drop percentages, which is going to be how much the sales rank has come down, or if you do it right and you filter properly using some negative numbers, how much the sales rank has gone up. You can also filter by the historical sales rank. So if I wanted to see items from December of 2025 that were ranked anywhere between 25,000 and 35,000 on Amazon, I could do that, and it would show me that in December of 2025, there were, well, it shows 0 products right now. Let's do 25,000 and 50,000. It looks like it may not be loading at the moment just due to the fact that I'm screen sharing, but it will go back and it will pull up all of those items from a historical month based on the average sales ranks from that month. You can also do a classification rank. This is going to be the Amazon bestsellers classification rank for a particular subcategory. I'm not really sure that this is incredibly helpful. We can filter by the buy box. And now this is going to go for all the new prices. So I'm only going to do this once, but this buy box price, we can do out of stock, the lowest ever, or the lowest over the past 90 days. We can do the current buy box from and to, the 30-day average buy box price, 90-day average, 180-day average, 365-day average, and we can also look for price drops, 1-day, 7-day, 30-day, and 90-day drop percentages. And if you filter these correctly using negative numbers, we can actually look for items where the prices have gone up. For example, if I want to look for items that currently have a buy box between $35 and $40, there are 20.5 million products that in that range. However, over the last 7 days, I only want to see products that have gone up in price by 50%, anywhere between, we'll say, 35 and 50%. So now there are 44,250 products that are between $35 and $40. And over the past 7 days, the price has increased by 35% to 50%. You have to remember that this is supposed to be a product that is consumer facing, meaning that a 7-day drop or a 1-day drop is going to be looking for prices where the price has dropped if you use whole numbers. But if you use negative numbers, it's useful for sellers because it'll look for prices that have gone up. All right. Now you can filter by Amazon prices, new prices, which is going to be new, any new offer, new Amazon, new FBA, new FBM, third-party sellers. You can filter by new third-party FBA, new third-party FBM, Prime exclusive, lightning deals, and used prices. We're not even going to dive into those used prices. All right. The next section is the title and category attributes. So you can filter by particular categories. Let's say you just wanted to look at movies and TV. You could just drill down to the movies and TV category. You can also choose multiple categories at one time if you would like. So now we have the movies and TV as well as toys and games. And you can also say is none of those categories. So instead of movies and TV, TV and toys and games, we're seeing everything except movies and TV and toys and games. That can be useful if there's a particular category that maybe you cannot sell. You can include or exclude subcategories. For example, let's say that I did not want to sell men's shoes. Well, I could say, hey, let's not include any of the shoe category or subcategory, the work and utility shoe category. Well, that would get rid of any of those particular subcategories for me. You can also filter by title. So if I wanted to put in something like pack of 6, I would only pull up the items on Amazon that show pack of 6 in the title. You can also use Boolean search terms here. So I could say negative pack, and now anything that has the word pack in it will get removed from my searches. I could also do negative pack of 6, and I would be able to see things that do not have the words pack of 6 in it, do not have the word pack, but have of 6 in it. I can also put in here pack of 6 in quotations. Oops, pack of 6 in quotations. And now I'm only going to see items that have pack of 6, the exact words just like that in the title. I could also type out the word 6 instead of the number, and we should see that change to 1,023 items. So learn some Boolean search terms to be able to get really granular on the title data. Now you can also filter by several of these items down here: the sales rank display group, website display group, etc. The type, the manufacturer, the brand is going to be most often the thing that you use here. So for example, let's say that you are filtering just for men's shoes, but you really want to dive just into Nike. You could pull up all 1 million listings for Nike on Amazon, but you could also say, the only thing I don't want is Nike. So you could look at shoes and exclude Nike as one of the things in your filters. There are other items here: size, color, scent, etc. Probably a lot of things that you're not going to use, but that's okay. We can also filter by offer counts: the total offer count on a listing, the new offer count, the current, the 30-day average, the 90-day average, 180-day average, 365-day average, and then of course also the drop percentage in 1 day, 7 day, 30 day, and 90 days. So for example, if I wanted to see items that have a average number of sellers or of 3 or more on Amazon, well, over the past 30 days, that would be 25 million products. Those are likely going to be arbitrageable products having 3 or more sellers. But maybe I want to see how many items on Amazon currently have 150 sellers or more. Well, there are 367 products that currently have 150 sellers or more. Let's go up to 250 and see how high that number goes. There are currently 96 products that actually have 250 sellers or more on a listing. That is going to be a ton, and that's going to take a moment to load. So we're not going to wait for that, but that is interesting. Okay, we can also look at the new FBA offer count, the new FBM offer count, the used offer count, the refurbished offer count, and the collectible offer count. Now, I know this is a little dry, but if you wait until we get through all of these filters that you can use, I'm going to show you 1 or 2 practical ways to be able to use this for your business. You can also filter by the buy box seller, and you can restrict your results to the current buy box seller being all, that is Amazon, third party, etc. You could only look for products that have Amazon as the current buy box seller, that only have third parties as the current buy box seller, or you could even restrict it to particular seller IDs if you have some seller IDs that you want to see what they're on the buy box in. You can also filter by the buy box shipping country. So if you want to stay away from anyone who might be shipping from China, you could put that in there as well. There are some additional buy box switches. For example, is the buy box currently held by an FBA seller? Yes, no, doesn't matter. Is the buy box unqualified or is it suppressed? All yes or no. Is it pre-order, back order, Prime exclusive, Prime eligible, or subscribe and save? The only thing that I would probably ever use here is either FBA or unqualified. All these other probably don't matter. You can filter by buy box percentage. This is going to be the Amazon buy box percentage. How much of the buy box are they getting over the past 30, 90, 180, or 365 days? Same with the buy box percentage for the top seller and the buy box winner count. Then we've got standard deviation and flippability. Now, you want to be careful with the buy box percentage because, again, this data is directionally accurate, but it's not going to be 100% accurate, and there are multiple buy boxes across the country. Standard deviation, this is going to be how much the price actually changes over time. So if it has a standard deviation over the last 30 days from 3 to 7, this means that the price could fluctuate anywhere between $3 and $7. And you could use this to help you get some very stable buy box pricing if you would like. The flippability is a score. It is based from 0 to 99. And the higher the number, the more flippable an item is. So if we look at 75 to 90 over the past 30 days, and we actually pull up some of these products, we'd actually see in here that the price history in here fluctuates quite a bit. Now, this one here is only going from $14.99 to $18.90. You're not really going to be able to make money on a flip like that. But if we scroll down just a little bit and say, look at this Under Armour item, we can see that the price has changed quite a bit. And that gives it a higher flippability score, meaning that we may have a higher chance of actually being able to do some sort of Amazon to Amazon flip with that flippability score. Okay. There's buy box eligible offer counts. So how many offers on a listing are actually eligible for the buy box, whether that is new FBA, new FBM, used or used FBM. We can see the buy box top seller ID over the past 30, 90, or 180 days. Not really something you're going to use. We can check out a few used buy box filters. Not really going to go over this because it's not incredibly helpful for someone who is doing online arbitrage. Next, in the seller IDs, we can actually input seller IDs here. You can input up to 50 seller IDs and then pull up everything that they are selling currently. You can also include historical offers, meaning Keepa will gather the data from not only their current listings, but also any listing that they've ever been on, and you can go and storefront stalk on steroids. I've actually made another video on exactly how to do this, so we won't dive deep on this, but know this is available, and this, in my opinion, is one of the most powerful things that you can use Keepa Product Finder for. If you put in more than one seller ID, you can also say, hey, I only want to see the ASINs that is on 2 of sellers at a time. You can go all the way up to is 49 of, looking for ASINs that are a crossover. You're typically going to want to be just is 1 of. You can also look at seller IDs and their FBA products only. You can put in seller IDs and look at their FBM products only. You can put in seller IDs and only see the items that they are the lowest FBA seller on, and the same as the FBM seller. We then have some more ways to refine our search. We can look for physical products only. We can include digital products and ebooks. Those are not going to be things that you're going to be able to sell, so I wouldn't worry about those. When it comes to variations, do you only want to see listings that have no variations and variations, or all? Do you only want to see items with no variations, which there are currently 330 million of those? Is a variation, there's 373 million of those. And if we only wanted to see one variation per product, there's currently over 82 million products on Amazon where we're only seeing one variation. Maybe there's 7, maybe there's 2, maybe there's 500 variations. Doesn't really matter. We don't just see one of them and be able to look at that separately. Okay. We can specify an ASIN to retrieve products that are often bought together with it. So let's say that you were to put in a eyeliner ASIN here. Well, maybe you get some foundation or a makeup brush or something like that as frequently bought together. You can also look for items with certain image counts, variation counts, or video counts. The image count could be helpful if you're doing something like brand direct or wholesale, where maybe you want to fix some listings and maybe there is only one image on a listing. Well, there are or hundreds of thousands of listings where there is only one image, where you might be able to come in and fix that, add more images, lifestyle images, etc. Currently, there are 54 million items where there are 250 or more variations. That is a ton. You can also look for video count. You can filter by the last price change, how long Keepa has been tracking this item, how long an item has been listed on Amazon, the publication date, if it's a media item, the release date, and then the 90-day out of stock percentage. So for example, if you wanted to see if the buy box was out of stock or the buy box was suppressed, you could look for items there that show that. We could look for items where Amazon is out of stock. If we look for items where Amazon is out of stock, on average 80% or more over the past 90 days, there are 622 million ASINs where Amazon's been out of stock 80% or more. We can do the same thing for new or used. We can look at the Amazon out of stock count. We can look at the monthly sales trends. That would be the 50 plus badge in there. There are currently 3 million ASINs that have 50 or more sales badge on the actual listing. And we can also look at the 90-day change percent for the monthly sold. So if we wanted to see that number going up, we could put in some negative numbers here. If we wanted to see that number coming down, we could put in some positive numbers. The monthly sold last known is available. So if we wanted to see items that were at least 50 last monthly sold, last known, and we only want to look for items from June 1st to June 15th. We could look for items between those dates that have at least the 50-month sold badge. Monthly sold peak, meaning the highest number sold for that item. We can also look that item up here. We can filter by sales rank drops. Remember, sales rank drops do not equal sales. It can be directionally accurate, but it has no correlation to the number of sales on a listing. Do we only want to see items that have a low return rate? Well, there's 235,000 of those. There are, on the other hand, 319,000 that have a high return rate. We can filter by the rating. This is going to be the stars on a listing, the rating count. So if we want to see items that have no sales rank, but currently the number of ratings on the listing is going up, we can filter that way. I'll show you how to use that. You can look at the number of reviews, the availability of an Amazon offer, the Amazon offer shipping delay, what the pick and pack fee might be, what the number of items is included, the package dimensions, the package weight. So if you only wanted to go for small items that are under a pound, you could do the package dimensions and the package weight if you wanted to maybe ship those ground advantage. You can also look up the item dimensions, the item weight itself, and then there are several deal types that we're not going to get into because they're not really that important. Are there any one-time coupons or business discounts? And then there's some additional switches. Are we looking for Amazon renewed products? Doesn't matter. Is there a main video? Is there A+ content? Is there A+ content from the manufacturer? Are batteries required? Are batteries included? Is it hazmat? Amazon has recently made changes to the hazmat program, making it a bit cheaper and easier to get items into Amazon. So using the hazmat filter might actually be very helpful. Is the item heat sensitive? Meaning, is it meltable? Well, if you put in yes, these are all the items on Amazon that are marked as heat sensitive, meaning you can't send those into Amazon at this time in June when I'm recording this. But these would be great items to go after around September when multiple season is back in. Is it an adult product? Is it merch on demand? Is it trade-in eligible? And then, of course, do you want to allow products that have possibly outdated price information to be included? Now, your job is to go out and get creative with all of these filters so that you can find products that are similar to what you might want to sell on Amazon. I'm going to give you 2 examples. Okay, but remember, there are hundreds and hundreds of combinations that you can use here. So go out and use your imagination. Now, my first example is going to be what I call the corridor method. We're going to look for items that have a certain sales rank. We're going to say between 75,000 and 175,000 currently. The 30-day average between 75,000 and 175,000, and the 90-day average is going to be the same as well, 175,000. We're not going to mess with any of the drop filters here. We're going to go down to the news section. I'm going to look for items that are currently $27 or more. The 30-day average is going to be $27 or more, and the 90-day average is going to be $27 or more. In the 30-day drop percentage, I'm going to put -45 to 7. This is going to show me items where it's $27 or more. However, the price could have gone down by up to 7%, but it could have increased by up to 45%. And we'll normally see this in some sort of range. This will often show things where the price has come up or maybe even stayed flat, which is exactly what I'm looking for. Nice, boring products. Now we're going to filter just a little bit more, and we're going to say, you know what? I want to make sure that this is none of the clothing, shoes, and jewelry category. That brings me down to 314,000 products. I'm going to look for a new offer count of 3 or more over the past 30 days. This brings me down to 47,670 products. And I'm also going to look for Amazon to be out of stock over the past 90 days. That is right down here. So the 90-day Amazon out of stock percentage is going to be 80% or more. And this is going to bring us down to 29,000 products. That is still probably too many. So we're actually going to mess with the new price filter. We'll do $27 to $45. And then we'll do 25 to 48, and we'll do 22 to 51. And now I'm down to 13,590 products. We'll also do Amazon out of stock at the moment. And let's go ahead and tighten this up. Let's do 75,000 to 100,000. And this will get me down to 1,680 products. Now, if we go into the actual find a product section, we can actually see items here that you can look. The current buy box price is $45. The 30-day average is $48. The 90-day average is $47 on this particular listing. If we open this up, we'll be able to see that that buy box price has been pretty solid. It has come down just a little bit. We see that the number of sellers is moving. Now we can actually go out and do a search for this to see if we could find this profitably. We'd probably need to be able to find this around the $25 or less mark, and it looks like probably not. This Vanilla Noir Cologne is $64.95. Sometimes it'll be a buy 3, get 3 free. Right now, it's just buy 3, get 1 free. So that's not going to be anywhere near profitable for us. But we just continue down this path, and we try to find more and more products that are going to work for us. We'll take a look at this Rue 21 and see what kind of price we get on this when we go out and look for it. So it's on Amazon, it's on eBay, Perfume Fly. Looks like maybe this is not made at Rue 21 any longer, and that's okay. That will happen. But we continue down this, and we can find other products that are going to be profitable for us that have nice, boring buy boxes. Sell-through rates are very nice, etc. All right, we'll take one more look here, see if we can find Brie Wax. Looks like $32.99 for 1 pound of it. I don't know how much this one is. We'll go to the data section. We can look at the product details, and it should let us know how many ounces are on this thing. And it is 1 pound. It is 16 ounces. So this one may not be profitable either if it is at $29 currently, and we're seeing 32 over here and $25 over here. So not going to work out. But if we keep going long enough, we would find things that are profitable in all of these listings. All right. So that is one way, something I like to call the corridor method. Now, there are other ways to use this as well. Okay. We can clear out this entire form. We'll go with no sales rank currently. We're going to look for a buy box of $25 or higher, 30-day average of 25 or higher, 90-day average of 25 or higher. The last 30 days is negative 45 to 7. But what's really important here is we're going to go down and look for the new offers to be 3 or more on average over the past 30 days. And we're going to go down to the rating section. Since there is no sales rank, we've got to figure out some way to figure out whether or not the item is selling. So we'll look for something that has 40 current ratings on it. And over the past 90 days, those ratings have gone up. We'll say negative 50% to negative 10%. And now we have 10,187. Actually, let's look between 40 and 150 ratings. Now we're down to 6,424. Let's go negative 20%. So we've got 10% to 20% increase. There's 3,146 products that have had a 10 to 20% increase in the number of reviews. However, there is no sales rank on the item. So we can look at this pinky and the brain right here. We can see that there is no sales rank, but the number of reviews has gone up, and we get this nice monthly sold line, okay? So this is something that if we could go and find it profitably, which going to be kind of hard for this 2-pack item here, but if we could go find this profitably, we know that this item is selling based on the reviews going up and that monthly sold line. All right. So this is a great way to be able to find products that a lot of other people are not able to find. All right. And again, make sure you go and experiment with this. This is incredibly powerful. There are hundreds of different ways to be able to go through this and actually find products for your store. There are ways to do Amazon to Amazon flips. There are ways to look for products that are currently not in stock but might be profitable if you brought them back in stock, and so many other ways. I've put together something like 65 SOPs for the Keepa product finder, which is available elsewhere. I won't sell that to you right now, but experiment with this, learn how to use it. It's incredibly, incredibly powerful. And that's it. That's everything that you need to know about Keepa to be better at reading the data that Keepa has to offer and using all of the feature that Keepa has to offer. It's going to make you better than 90% of other sellers on the Amazon platform. Now, before you go, if you're interested and you want someone to help you start or grow your Amazon business to gain you and your family's time freedom, check out the link in the description and schedule a time to talk with me to see if I might be a fit to help you. All right, I'll see you guys in the next video.